Hey peeps, welcome back to Hypo HO, Speed Tips and More for the Average Joe. And in this episode, what I'm going to do is show you my cheap and easy magnet mod for the Lifelike T chassis. This here is a stock Lifelike T chassis, and these cars are pretty darn fast out of the box. But there's a lot more potential in these cars. And my mods to this car, it's the true essence of hot rodding, hop-ups, and tuning a car. And I'm going to show you the down and dirty way on the cheap to make this car super duper fast, perform excellent, reliable, and just a blast to drive. And maybe it'll cost you $7, if that, to do what I'm going to show you. So anyway, part of the mod, now I'm going to go a little bit crazy while I'm doing this. I've got one here that I started taking apart, and I'm going to actually dye the chassis on this one, the one that we're going to build. But for you guys doing this mod, you don't have to do any of that. You're just going to take a stock car like this, and you're going to pull the rear wheels off. And I'm just going to show you a little sample of one of my modified cars. And these aren't just glued in. You can't do that. You got to actually make a pocket for these magnets. Now I've been doing this since 2006. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time to these cars. I got a bunch of them. And so I've played around with this and, tried all different kinds of magnets, different orientations. You see how I have those. You see how I have these. And they all work good. They all work really good. Some work a little bit better than others. But, for a $15 car, the magnets, if you shop around, there's plenty of suppliers online. This is a 3/16 by 3/16 by 16th. I've also done them with round magnets. I've seen them anywhere from like 20 cents a piece to $1.25 a piece. So, and these are N42s, by the way. You shop around, you might be able to find 52s. They're not always available, but I have found them. So, it's a major upgrade. And the only downfall on these cars is this copper shoe retainer / spring here that the pickup rides in. And it's really not a downside because I was able 10 years ago to source this part. And at the time I went ahead and I think I bought like 30 sets. I still have a bunch left. But if you can source this part, outside of, breaking off a hub or breaking this piece off, and even that's repairable, these cars will last you forever. They're really low maintenance, and, once you get them set up, you just, your regular oiling, keep them clean, they'll last you forever. This is one that I did a fluorescent body on. We actually raced with some, black lights. And this car has been around 10 years. Look at the shoes. You can tell this car's been driven the hell out of it. I just, I blow them off when I'm done with a little dust off when I'm finished. And I just, keep them nice. And they'll last a long, long time. So anyway, we're going to do this build. I'm going to show you how to build this car. And the whole secret lies in a special tool that I make to make the pockets in here. And I'll show you how to make one if you're so inclined. And the first step, we're gonna, like I said, strip the car down. You need to get these magnets out, and the way that you do that is you just take a little, see that little hole up there? You take a little drill bit and you just drill right in there. Do it with a pin vise, and then you just take a piece of music wire or, a front axle, spare one, and you just pop it right out. So there's our bare chassis with the magnets out. I'm going to go ahead and pull this motor out and I'll show you how to take these off if you're so inclined. You don't need to. You can just take a regular chassis like I told you, take this off, and you're good to go. Alright, so we'll come back at you. I'll show you, for those so inclined, if you find this part, you want to replace it or whatever, I'll show you how we do that. Okay, peeps. So what you're going to want to do, you want to secure the chassis however you want to do that. You need a little bit of this chem wick, which is desoldering braid, alright, and you need low voltage, I believe this is 25 watt, soldering with a fine tip, and then you just need a pick like so. And a great source of these, next time you go to the dentist, ask him for his old ones. They throw these things out all the time. They're always replacing them, and I mean, I got a lifetime supply. 2 times I asked the dentist, and no problem, you know, gave me a handful both times. And these things are great to have around. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're just going to lightly take our soldering iron, put it on this lead right here, and we're just going to touch it to that real quick and pull it up. And you can see I pulled the solder off. Now I need to cut this, so I'm going to come right back and then I'll show you how you pull these forward, because you need a new piece each time. Alright, so I went ahead and I did the other side. Now once that's done, all we're going to do is take our little pick here and we're going to pop it in. You'll see how this tab is just slid over the contact for the motor, and we're just going to put it at the bottom like so, and we're going to touch this and just go forward like that. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side, and that's all there is to getting these removed. Alright, so I'm going to pull the rest of this out, and then I'll show you how you take that piece off on the bottom. And it's just the reverse procedure to put that back in. But I'll show you once we go ahead and reassemble this how to do it. Okay, peeps, so what you're going to do here to get this motor out, if you look, see these 2 tabs underneath, those 2 holes? That clicks right into there. There's 2 retainers. So you're just going to stick a screwdriver in here, pull that back a little. You're going to push up on the motor, and on the side here, there's one here and one here. You just kind of pull them away and just slide the motor back. So once you get it up, slide it back. The ones in the front fit right there. So that's all there is to this, man. It's a piece of cake. Alright, now these are the pieces, like I was saying, that you source these, you're golden. And here's what they look like. This is the trouble area. I'm sure there must be some out there. Someone's got them. But to get those out, you can see there's a little hook right there. You're just going to pull that forward and bang. Let's see here. Just slide it around. Now you can pull the guide pin out, and there you go. And that's how you replace them also. So it's just, you know, a little bit of soldering, and you can make these cars run forever. Even like I said, if this breaks off, there's a fix for that. There's a fix if you break the axle. This is a fantastic chassis, and you're going to be amazed when you see how fast this thing is, and how well it runs. And you can just build up a bunch of them, have some friends over, and you know, like I said, for, you know, it's $15 for a brand new one of these, and $7 in parts or maybe less, you know, for 20 something dollars and an hour or so of your time, you've got a car that's amazingly fast. It takes a ton of abuse and a lot of fun. All right, so I'm going to go get this chassis dyed, and then when we come back, we're going to continue from there. Okay, guys, went ahead, dyed the chassis, put the motor back in, because obviously you're going to be working with the motor in the car. And I already went ahead and I made one pocket. I don't know how well you can see that right there. This side is not done. This side is done. And that pocket will fit the magnet. Strong magnets. Well, you get the idea. So the whole secret to this is making this tool out of a nail. And what you want to do is grind the head of that to the size of the magnet. Now you want it a little bit smaller, because the way that we make the pocket, we heat this up with a propane torch, and we don't make it cherry red. I recommend that you experiment a little bit on a bare chassis, a junk one that's broken, so you get the feel for how much heat you need and how much it's gonna sink in there with the amount of heat. And the way that you're gonna do it, you're gonna line up right at the back edge here, right up against the motor, and even with this rail, and boom. Now, I mean, I've tried to do this with a Dremel, all different kind, cutting it with a knife. This is the easiest, quickest way. Once you get the hang of it, it takes no time. And I've done a lot of other cars. Here's one that I made for round magnets, this size magnet, and like I showed you, this is going to be the end result. Now, this one that I'm showing you that we're building, we're going to do it orientated square, because that's the easier way to do it. This takes a little bit of getting used to get it on the diagonal. This one here is done with the round magnets. So it's all a matter of just playing around, experimenting, what kind of magnets you can find. You want at least N42s. That's what you want to have. Now, once you have both pockets made, I'm going to show you how we set the height of the magnets. Now, you're going to want two razor blades like these, exactly the same. And you're going to need your block like this, a flat block. And if you notice on the Lifelikes, what they have right underneath this, there's a little tab here. So it doesn't let the chassis sit 100% flat, because you're resting on those two tabs. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop the guide pin through this magnet, and we want to be at the front edge, I think you can see it there, of that tab. And then what we do is we set the magnets on this razor blade right back there, and also it's going to be at the front edge. You don't want to be on that tab. So it takes a little bit of doing. You'll get everything set up, and once you put it on the board like so, it's going to set the magnets to the perfect height to the bottom of the chassis. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get these magnets glued in, and we're going to be using super glue, like I showed you in my previous videos. Good quality super glue. You don't want to use crazy glue. And initially all we want to do is just get it tacked in. We don't want to put any glue on the motor. So we're going to make sure that a couple of drops back here, a couple of drops back there. A good way to play around and get where they need to be, because once you set them on this piece of steel, with the chassis like that, they're going to stay where you need them. So it's just a simple matter of having them on there and then popping the chassis down. And so obviously just use a toothpick, something non-metal that you can move it around and line everything up. Once you do that with everything set on the plate here, you just go ahead and you lift it up. Your magnets will be there. Pop your glue on. Pop this down, and you're good to go. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get those magnets in and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, before I glue these in, I figured a couple of notes. I just want to let you know, you're going to have to probably clean up the pocket a little bit with an X-Acto. And, you know, this is the down and dirty method, heating it up with a propane torch. Now, I made one of these, and I actually have it set up in, like, I think it's like a 75-watt soldering iron, one of those big jammies. If you want to be a little more precise, and you like the way that this works, you know, you try it, and you're doing a bunch of cars, that's really the way to go. You make one of these, and you pop it into, like I said, a 50 to 75-watt soldering gun, iron, and it gives you a lot of control to really, you know, set the depth. Now, I also just want to show you, when you're set up properly, what this should look like. So you can see here, now I don't have the other magnet in the front, but you can see how the magnet, both of them, so you see how I have them lined up here, right up in the center? And if you look, I'm right, you see that little nub? There's one here and there's one there. I'm right at that nub, and I'm hoping you can see this, but I'm perfectly flat right in there. So I'm right up against the chassis. These are sitting nice. I'm just going to go ahead and pop my front one in front of that other nub. Now you could leave it like this, and you could just tack glue everything, and then once you get it all set and pull this magnet off, then you can glue all around it. You know, a couple of different ways to do it, but I just wanted to show you, like I said, what it looks like when it's ready to go. Okay, let me get these glued up and then we'll proceed. Okay guys, so I've got that other car that we were working on. Magnets are glued. I like to let them dry overnight, so I'm going to leave that overnight. But in the meantime, I want to show you what you're going to end up with once we finish that car. So here's the one that's got the round ones. Here's this other one I showed you. It's got the square ones. Now these cars have nothing more. This one's stock car, just the magnet mod and a set of tires. This one, nothing. Alright? Alright, there's one. Two. Alright guys, so we'll finish up with part 2. We're going to put that other one back together tomorrow night, and we're going to do one other little mod. We're going to just throw a set of tires on there, and that's pretty much it. So you'll see tomorrow when we finish it up. Peace out.